Hello everyone, welcome back to Agri Farming. Today we are back with how to grow Tulsi plant in pots. Tulsi is also called holy basil. This plant is mostly used as a medicinal herb for the treatment of many numbers of ailments starting from headaches to cancer. This plant can be grown in a simple way either from seed or by rooting in water. It is very simple plant to maintain too. You can keep the Tulsi plant in pots and place in the indoor locations, or you can even plant it in the outdoor locations like your garden. Now, let's get into the varieties of Tulsi. You can start these varieties of Tulsi in pots. Though there are 18 varieties of Tulsi or holy basil across the world, the main type of Tulsi in India are Krishna Tulsi, Drudhiha Tulsi, Ram Tulsi, Babi Tulsi, and Tukashmiya. So, let's see how to grow Tulsi from seeds. A flower pot has to be filled with soil which has high quality, and make sure that you are watering it in a thorough manner. Also ensure that you are leaving a space of an inch at the pot's top layer. Also, add a sufficient amount of water to moisten the soil, but make sure that you are not adding so much amount of water as you do not want your soil to be soggy. Though you are planning to grow your Tulsi in outdoor location, it is always better to start the growth of Tulsi in the indoor locations before you transfer it to the outdoor locations. You can get Tulsi seeds from any of your neighbors if possible, or you can also buy them in garden stores. The seeds have to be sown at a depth of 1 by 4 inch below the soil. As the seeds of Tulsi will be tiny, you can sprinkle the seeds on the top layer of the soil in a simpler manner. Then press them down in a gentle manner into the soil surface by making use of your fingers, or you can even slightly temper them. The soil has to be kept moist until germination of seeds takes place. The seeds will start to grow in about 7 to 15 days. As the seeds of Tulsi will be delicate and sensitive, you can try to make use of a spray bottle of mist the soil surface in a light manner. If you pour water into the pot, you make sure that you are doing it slowly and also in a careful manner so that you will not disturb any of the seeds. You can also prefer to cover the top layer of the pot by making use of plastic wrap, as doing so will help in sealing the moisture inside. But make sure that you are monitoring the soil on a regular basis and keep adding more amount of water whenever required. The Tulsi plant has to be placed close to a window which is warm and sunny. The Tulsi plant will require almost 6 to 8 hours of sunlight during the day, and the temperature should be at a minimum of 21 degrees Celsius. The pot has to be set up in a spot where it would be able to receive a large quantity of sunlight. Also, be very careful that you are not leaving the place close to any window or door which is open if the temperature is decreasing during the night. Now, let's see how to propagate Tulsi plant from cuttings. Cut a stem which is having a length of 4 to 6 inch from a Tulsi plant which is matured. The stem has to be taken right from the set of leaves. All the other leaves have to be plucked from the lower section of your cutting. You will have to leave a stem of 2 inches fully bare. When you are cutting the stem, make sure that you are selecting one which has not yet flowering. You can take a cutting from a stem which flowers, but it will be very difficult for rooting and make it much more difficult for the plant. The cut end has to be dipped in a rooting hormone for speeding up the process. Rooting hormones can be bought at gardening stores or nurseries present in your locality. The Tulsi cutting has to be planted in glass container which is completely filled with water. Make sure that you are using a drinking glass which is clear and fill it with sufficient water for covering just the bottom half of the stems. You can also keep more than one stem in the container, but you will have to make sure that it is not getting overcrowded. The water has to be changed on a daily basis so that the stems will not rot from bacteria overgrowth. Your Tulsi plant has to be kept in a spot which is warm and sunny. Select a table or window sill which will let the plant to set sunlight for at least 6 to 8 hours of indirect and bright sunlight. The cuttings have to be transferred into a pot of soil when the roots start growing. Your Tulsi cuttings will be ready for transfer into the soil when the roots reach the length of 1 by 4 to a half inch. It will take up for 1 week to 10 days for reaching this point. If you are having multiple cuttings in the container, separate them in a gentle manner for avoiding the breakage of the roots which are delicate. Your Tulsi has to be placed in the potting soil for about 15 to 21 days before you are planting in the outdoor locations if you wish to. How to maintain and care Tulsi plants. Your Tulsi plant has to be watered when the soil top layer will become dry. You will have to check your plant from a maximum of 2 times in a week to check if it has to be watered. If the soil top is dry, you will have to water it. The number of times you have to water the Tulsi plant will change based on the climatic conditions and temperature. The Tulsi plant has to be fertilized at least once time in a month. You can make use of liquid fertilizer or an organic compost like manure for the maintenance of nutrients in the soil. An application of cow manure once a month will help your plant to survive. The tops of Tulsi have to be pruned on a weekly basis for the encouragement of its growth. Once your Tulsi plant will have 3 sets of leaves on a slight single stem, 1 set of leaves on the top of the stem and the remaining 2 sets of the leaves on the side of the stem, you can start pruning. The top set of Tulsi leaves have to be removed. This will be located just above the other 2 sets of leaves. How to prune your Tulsi plant. It will help to grow quickly and give rise to branches which are full. Your Tulsi can be transplanted once it has grown out its pot. As soon as you notice the roots to grow out of the drainage holes which are present in the bottom of the pot, it is the best time for transferring the plant to a pot which is larger. Based on the size of the pot in which you started the Tulsi plant, you may be required to do this at least 2 times. Always remember that the Tulsi plant will be growing up to a length of 3 feet, so make sure that you are planning for this when you are transferring whether into a pot which is larger or to the outdoor locations. You will sometimes see Tulsi leaves falling off and start turning yellow in color. This is an indication of deficiency of nutrients. You can also transfer Tulsi to the outdoor location in a secure way about 6 to 8 weeks after the plantation is done. Always make sure that there is no risk of frost present and also the temperatures are at the minimum of 21 degrees Celsius. Let's see some facts about growing Tulsi plants. Tulsi plant is one which is considered to be auspicious in human's life and most of the Indians have this plant in their houses. The months of April and June are considered to be best for growing Tulsi plants. Tulsi seeds will take 1 week to 2 weeks to undergo the process of germination and start emerging from the soil. After the completion of the germination process, you will have to wait for the first set of Tulsi leaves after 15 to 20 days. Then, after that, the Tulsi plants will be reaching a length of at least 6 inches, and that would be the best time to plant them in the outdoor locations. It is always important to keep the tips of Vastu in your mind when you are placing the Tulsi plant in your house. The best place to keep your Tulsi plant is on the east side. If you are unable to place in the east, then you can opt the place in a window or balcony, which is northeast or even north can be preferred. Make sure that there is the availability of sufficient sunlight. The spots which are dark and water-soaked, which you see on your Tulsi plant, are an indication of a bacterial leaf spot infection, which is caused by bacteria called Pseudomonas species. These symptoms may gradually lead to rotting of the wet stem. The bacteria which will lead to bacterial leaf spot is one which is born from the seeds of Tulsi, but there are also chances that it may be caused by splashing of water. Tulsi plant has a lifespan of 3 years to the maximum when taken proper care with good amount of watering and by not allowing it to wilt. Usually, Tulsi seeds take 2 weeks to germinate and started growing. The bacterial leaf spot infection will be cause the Tulsi leaves to turn black or cause the Tulsi plant to have black spot. Tulsi plant is a tropical plant and you can grow it any time in tropics. Tulsi plant can be grown on the terrace, backyard, balcony and indoors. The commercial cultivation of Tulsi in India is rapidly increasing as the Tulsi essential oil has excellent health benefits. If the leaves of Tulsi are falling off, it may be due to overwatering or less water supply. It may also be the reason of Tulsi pest and disease other than nutrient deficiencies. You can save Tulsi plant from dying by checking the soil moisture, nutrients and analyzing any plant pests and diseases. Overwatering may cause the Tulsi plant to die. Tulsi plant can be grown from cuttings and seeds. Well, it is auspicious when grown at home and profitable with commercial cultivation. That's all folks for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to this channel and please ring the bell button to notify you whenever new video is uploaded. Thank you for watching.